Thanks to the supporters and channel member Nick Collard. Oh, boys and girls, we had a spectacular transfer window yesterday. We've signed a Brazilian superstar and we've got to play Burnley and Bournemouth in our first 2 games of the season. We're going to be top of the Premier League in about 15 minutes' time. Hello and welcome to Club 4, Part 7 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have those first 2 games of the new Premier League season. We're away against Burnley. We're at home against Bournemouth. And this team is looking like a beautiful thing. If you missed the transfer window yesterday, definitely go back and watch it. Things happened. We spent an awful lot of money, most exciting of all, on Pedro Luis, our goal-a-game Brazilian superstar international striker. Oh, I cannot wait for him to take the Premier League by storm. And also, by the end of the year, wouldn't be at all surprised if this guy was considered a bit of a superstar as well. It's exciting times here at Norwich. Remember, when I first arrived, about 10 months ago now, that first team that I selected, everyone was over the age of 30. We've now got a starting 11 that has one teenager in it. There's only 3 players 30 and above in this team. I think we might actually have a sensible age balance in the squad for the first time probably in the entire series. This feels like this is going to be a special season. I'm excited, and this is the team that we're sending to Burnley to hopefully pick up our first 3 points of the season. We are going with Hoyenhall in goal, a back four of Sessegnon, debut boy Chao Cesar, a Brazilian under-20 international, new club captain Diego Knoll alongside him, who of course came in back in January, and then Wagyu at right back. New £22 million permanent signing from Manchester City, Zamorano at the base of the midfield with Tottenham loanee Tipple, and our new central midfielder Janusek alongside him. Zanelli is injured, which is, I'm not just forgotten Zanelli, but he is going to be injured for the first month or so of the season. We've then got one of our new attacking midfielders, Gilberto Carlos. Definitely a Brazilian feel around this squad. We've gone Brazilian, boys and girls. And then up front, we've got Alvarez and, of course, Pedro Luis, who, if I know anything about what strikers score goals in Football Manager, it's the quick ones. And he's definitely he's going to score goals. If he's not got 12 goals by Christmas, I'll be very surprised. Watch him never score for us. Watch him be useless. I'll be very upset. Right. The one that got away is in the Burnley team, I think. And we were trying to sign a left back over the summer, Bismarck, who, I mean, he does look pretty good. I did click on him. I don't want to click on him because clicking on him guarantees that he'll have a good game and he'll score a goal. But this is Bismarck, who we did try and sign in the summer, but he decided to go to Burnley instead. £14 million for the left back. He's the Brazilian we missed out on. Look at those physicals again. But aside from him, we should be able to beat this Burnley team. They're a one-man team. They've got Bismarck and nothing else. But Bismarck, of all the Brazilians that have joined the Premier League this summer, most of them coming to us, he's the one who made it onto the shortlist for, or their predicted media shortlist for Young Player of the Year, a Burnley player amongst all the Man City and Man United and Liverpool players. So I'm a little bit disappointed that none of my youngsters made it on there. And of all the ones we signed, we didn't get what apparently was the best one. But I think Pedro Luis is going to be more important. Just look at that pass for Alvarez. Oh, my word. This front two. We're going to have a lot of fun with these boys this season. What a pass from Luis. What a goal from Alvarez. It's taken us less than 2 minutes. And our South American front two have already combined beautifully. Look at that for a pass. Oh, yes. We're going to have a fun season. Oh, I'm going to try not to cough too much about it as well. Oh, I was so excited. I just had a little off-camera coughing fit. Goodness me, 1-0 up there. Look, we're joint top of the table with newly promoted Newcastle. We actually have to scroll up on the league table on here to have a look to see how we're doing. Beautiful stuff. Right, 20 minutes in now, throw in, and it's Alvarez on the left-hand side. Gives it to Zamorano. First look at Gilberto Carlos and Tipple. Tipple, of course, can play left-back as well, and probably will play left-back there as Sessegnon rotates out of the team over the course of the season. We're actually going to be able to properly rotate in both full-back positions this year, which we weren't able to do last year. And we've got a free kick. We don't know what we got it for, but it's in a very dangerous position. It's Alvarez again, and it's 2-0. And Alvarez, I think, is one of two things is happening here. He's either really, really putting himself in the shop window for that big money move to Milan that's on the cards for him potentially at 30 years old, looking for his last big contract in professional football, or after 9 years here at Norwich, he's decided he's Norfolk through and through and wants to make a statement about who the best striker at Norwich is with all this fuss about Pedro Luis, and he's going the right way around, making himself look really rather good today. New boy at the back, Cesar to Zamorano, and now Alvarez again looking for his hat-trick, but he was actually trying to square that there. Burnley get a hold of it, get the ball clear, but Wagyu has got no pressure on him here, and fingers crossed won't do anything stupid. He turns around nice and slow, gives it back to Zamorano again, and we start to build from the base of our midfield once more. Janusek with a lovely pass forward to Sessegnon. He's got Alvarez in the middle if he wants to try and find him, but instead, in fact, it was Luis, Luis. I don't know how you say his name. Pedro. Alvarez, anyway, is taking the corner, but it's headed clear by the Burnley defender. We have had such a good start to this game. I'm giddy, properly giddy. The board are only looking for us to avoid relegation again this year. I think we should be better than that. Janusek is in here, and cool, blimey, that should have been 3-0. Carlos playing it out to Wagyu again. We have been relentless here. Wagyu on the right-hand side, trying to find the cross. He does. Looks for the far post. Alvarez couldn't quite peel back there and get onto the end of it, and Sessegnon was a little bit too narrow to be able to get the cross back in from the other side. It's Zamorano again, and now Tipple back to Charles Cesar and Sessegnon. I mean, it's like we're playing in yellow. We're full of Brazilians. We basically are. We basically are Brazil at this point. Bismarck should have come to play for us. Zamorano's done really well there. Pedro Luis is in, and he should have scored there, I think. I mean, I'm not going to start criticising him just yet, but you know, Alvarez is looking pretty special. We need Pedro to be up there at that kind of level. The last Brazilian called Pedro I played up front in a team. It ended up really rather well, and he had a wonderful jawline. Wagyu's picked up a knock here, so I think we probably need to take him off sooner rather than later. It's the one position we don't have much strength in depth in the squad. Sessegnon has just scored an absolutely beautiful goal to make it 3-0. That's our left back doing that, boys and girls. It's I can take that. I'll take that from our left back. Tipple playing it through to him. He's the furthest man forward, and rather than squaring it, he just dinked it over the goalkeeper. Easy peasy. And I think at 3-0, that probably is the cue to take off Wagyu, bring on the new boy Mingueza at right back, who's just come in from Bournemouth. I don't try not to make a habit of signing 31-year-olds, but we just needed a cheap option in the squad. So he's filling a spot for this year. Long term, I think we all know long term he's not going to be around for very long. But for this season, he fills a squad spot. Sessegnon to Gilberto Carlos. Now Alvarez, Janusek from range, and it's just hit a little bit too hard, a little bit too high and a little bit too wide. But it remains 3-0, and it's Pedro Luis again who plays it back to Mingueza, Zamorano now, and Knoll. And we are just controlling the match. We've constantly got the ball. Every highlight is just us knocking the ball around nicely. Carlos plays Luis in again, and it's back to Mingueza, who has the shot, trying to justify why we've brought him in amongst all the superstars with the shot from the edge of the area, but it goes over, and we're going to look at the substitutes bench again. Tipple is tiring, so we can bring on another new boy, Griffin Diaz, to play as the Mazzala in there. And then we're also going to bring on our third new boy, Luca Motiero, who is the other attacking midfielder that we brought in the summer to tuck in behind those two. So much strength and depth in this squad now. And Burnley just brought on De Kock. There he is, look, taking a corner. And they almost scored from it because of the distraction. It was cock to wind there. Lovely. Burnley have got some excellently named players. But I'm really distracted and thrown by it now. I'm gonna try not to be. I'm gonna put my professional face back on. And we've done very well on the first day of the new season. We've picked up a win, and now we play Bournemouth to hopefully pick up another win and just start getting these points on the board. Because ultimately the job is 40 points as soon as possible. Let's avoid getting sacked again. This time last year, we started well on the first day of the season, and by the next day, I'd been sacked. So We need to back it up again with another good performance and another good result against Bournemouth. Get some points on the board before we hit any kind of tricky run. Because the last thing I want, after bringing both of my Schalke goalkeepers to the UK, is to get sacked again. Because then boys will then have to follow me to wherever we end up next. They're just my goalkeeper buddies. I like to hang out with these two goalkeepers. 3-0. Lovely stuff. Same again, please. Right, just the one change for the Bournemouth game. Mingueza's going to start. Wagyu picking up that knock in the last game. He is fit to play, but Mingueza's playing against his former club, so he's probably going to score a goal. That's usually how this works. I've also made Charles Cesar a covering centre-back. It's his preferred position. He's quick. We had this problem towards the back end of last season where sometimes the gap between the back four and Hoyenhal was getting a little bit too big because Hoyenhal's instinct is to stay back more, even though he's playing as a sweeper keeper. So I'm hoping having the covering defender in there, firstly, helps cover for Sessegnon bombing forward, but also closes that gap just a little bit with the higher defensive line between Cesar and Hoyenhal. And we're also trying Pedro Luis and Alvarez the other way round. They're both just as equally capable playing as advanced forwards as they are as deep lying forwards. So, I mean, Alvarez got the goals in the last game and Luis played a beautiful pass. So maybe they'll be better this way round. Maybe they won't. I think the fact we can swap them is ideal. So let's get into this game. First home game of the season. We would very much like a second win because that sets us up very nicely for not getting sacked in tomorrow's episode, which is my big fear. I'm also keeping an eye on how Peterborough are doing. They've just gone 1-0 down against Brighton already. They lost 4-0 against Wolves on the first day. I think my beloved Posh are going to be a bit of a cushion for us at the bottom of the league this year. I suspect my long-term master plan that we had there, I managed to get them promoted again with my excellent transfers, but maybe they've not followed it through with a good summer this year. And my influence is starting to wane there, maybe. Through ball from Pedro Luis for Alvarez to chase, and he's not quite got the legs to get on the end of that. I wonder if the two of them had been the other way around with a little bit of extra pace on Pedro Luis. Would he have been able to get on the end of the pass from Alvarez? That's the sort of thing we're watching while we're deciding how the best way round to play those two as our strikers are. Ball over the top for Gilberto Carlos, who's gone round the keeper and slotted it past him. It's 1-0 to Norwich. That's what we want to be seeing from Carlos, from Tipple, from Janusek. All of them just got sort of bursting out of that midfield. It's Janusek, I think, who plays, and in fact, it's Mingueza with the pass. But having those players bursting out of the midfield like that, that's where the diamond is so dangerous because you have so many players rushing forward, the fullbacks, the Mezzala, the attacking midfielder. And I mean, he just basically ran through a massive gap in the middle of the Bournemouth defence there. And it's 1-0 and we are looking like a very good team once again, like we did in the last game. Bournemouth have had a little shot. We were never under any kind of pressure there, I don't think. Tipple's there with a header out of nowhere. I don't really know how that move built up, but Tipple with a header that caused all sorts of problems. Now it's Alvarez to Carlos again, who shoots from range. And this time it's a little bit wide and it remains 1-0. But looking at the match stats, we've once again started the brighter of the two teams. We're a different team to the team that played in the Premier League last year. Alvarez is in again here, but he couldn't get the shot away. And it's back with Captain Noll, who's bringing the ball out of defence, gives it to Mingueza, plays it in beautifully to Alvarez, and he probably should have scored, although I think it's been given as offside. But finishing, always a little bit ropey. I mean, we started him off playing as the advanced forward last year, and he didn't start scoring until we started playing him a little bit deeper. So I do suspect long-term that's the way around we'll end up playing them. Luis is the more attacking and Alvarez deeper, but I've got to give them both a fair crack in both positions while we work out what we're going to be doing. But I mean, Alvarez has had another good game today. He's showing us a 7.2 at the moment. We could really use another goal though, because at 1-0, there's always the danger of an equaliser coming from the opposition. We're going to bring Griffin Diaz on again as we continue to try and convert him into a central midfielder rather than a left winger. I certainly think he's got the attributes he needs to be able to play there quite comfortably. And we've been training him there, but he's already accomplished. The only way to make him natural now is to play him there a lot. So he will keep coming off the bench and playing in that role. And we're also going to bring on Casolari to play alongside Pedro Luis. And you know what? We might bring on De Luca as well. And just go with Casolari and De Luca as the front two. and give them a little bit of a chance to see if they can find a breakthrough for us. The other two were starting to get tired, and we don't want tiredness around these parts. But that illustrates the danger that we've got, only being 1-0 up. That ball's only just snuck wide. So I would very much like a second goal, please, because if we start dropping points in games like this, then this season won't necessarily be as smooth sailing as I hoped it would be. Posh have got an equaliser against Brighton. Pwigmal's still there. Lovely, lovely stuff. So it looks like Posh are picking up their first point of the season, but we've just picked up our 6th. We are joint top of the Premier League. Oh, what a time to be alive. No getting fired this season, and Posh did lose in the end as well. Bless them. Spurs also lost both of their first 2 games, which is very interesting. But that league table is looking better than any league table has looked since we were at Posh in the Championship. It's been a while since we've been towards the top of the league table again. We're not going to stay there for long because we've got some tough games coming up. Tottenham, Man City, Liverpool. I'd kind of like to show you the Peterborough game as well. But that's as good a start as we possibly could have hoped for. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.